Dear friends, this session we are going to discuss the last topic of the fifth module, that is water pollution. Before we enter into a discussion on water pollution, we will just try to find out the status of distribution of water on the surface of the earth. We know that about two-thirds of the surface of the earth is covered by water, and in this about 97% of water is saline water. That means it cannot be used for any purpose of water or use of water like drinking water or domestic purposes or agricultural purposes or even industrial uses. And we are actually left with the remaining 3% of water. And in this 3% of fresh water that is available to us, about 2.997% of fresh water is trapped in the polar ice caps and also the glaciers. That means we have only 0.003% of fresh water available for our use of drinking water purpose or agricultural purpose or domestic uses, etc. So we have to realize that only 0.3003% of fresh water is available for our use. And in this available 0.003% of fresh water, if a part of the water becomes unfit for our use as a result of our own intervention in the water environment of the earth, that is what is happening in the case of water pollution. So water pollution is actually a very severe environmental intervention on the surface water as well as groundwater resources of the earth, by which you change or you alter the quality and composition or quality or composition of that particular water by human intervention, and that is water pollution. So by any change in the quality or composition of water, directly or indirectly caused by the activities of human beings, so that water becomes unfit for our use of drinking water, domestic uses, agricultural purposes, recreational purposes, or for industrial uses. And that is what is known as water pollution. Now, if you go to think about the different types of water pollution, water pollution can be classified into different types based on different criteria, and one of such criterion is actually related to the source of water. And based on that particular criterion, if you classify water pollution, you will see that there are mainly three types of water pollution. One is point source of pollution, point source pollution. Second one, non-point source pollution, and Third one is transboundary pollution. Transboundary pollution. Transboundary pollution. This you might have heard, but still we will just very briefly discuss this. Point source pollution means the type of water pollution for which you have a very clear idea about the source of pollution. That means you identify a type of water pollution, and in this case, in that particular case, you know that there is a very clear cut idea about the source of pollution. For example, if there is discharge of industrial effluents from an industry into a river through an underground pipe, you know that a given portion of the river there is pollution of river water by this industrial effluents. The reason is very clear to you. The industry, like X industry, is responsible for this particular type of pollution. And the characteristic feature of this type of pollution is that you are very much able to manage it easily because you know the actual source. That is known as point source of pollution. For example, again, if you have a river stretch contaminated, water contaminated by ammonia released from a fertilizer industry, you consider it as a point source pollution. Whereas non-point source pollution is a different one, in which you know that there is pollution of surface water or groundwater or both, but you don't have a very clear idea about the source of pollution. The pollutants might have been generated from an unknown source. Typical example is, you know that a river water, when it was chemically analyzed, it contains large amount of nutrients, huge amount of nutrients, and you can assume that the source of nutrients in this given stretch of river may be due to the surface runoff entering into that particular river stretch from a land area, but you are not able to identify correctly which is the land area that is responsible for the release of such nutrients into that particular river. So that is non-point source of pollution. The difficulty which we are facing in the case of non-point source of pollution is that its management is very difficult because you have very small idea, only very small idea about the, or no idea about the source of the pollution. And transboundary pollution is a typical case in which the origin of the pollutants may be thousands of kilometers away from the area that has been contaminated. It may be from another country or another, even from another continent, the pollutants may be originating, and such case you consider it as transboundary pollution. That case also, the environmental management of that particular situation becomes very difficult. So that is one type of classification of the water pollution. And second type of classification is based on the type of the pollutants. That is the criterion of classification, type of the pollutants. And you have, based on that, you have physical pollution. Second one is chemical pollution, chemical pollution, and the third one is biological pollution. Biological pollution of what? Biological pollution of water. Physical pollution, as the term indicates, there is change not in the chemical composition of water, but it is change in the physical properties of water. So, by human intervention, if there is change in the physical properties of water, that is known as physical pollution. For example, from an industry, if hot water is added to a given river water stretch, that particular water becomes hot, river water becomes hot, and that type of pollution is physical pollution. Or by the addition of a pollutant into a given water, if the density of the water is varied, viscosity of the water is varied, you consider it as a type of physical pollution. And chemical pollution, you may be knowing, of water is the most common type. There is addition of some contaminants into the water, and as a result, water becomes polluted. The chemical composition of water is changed, or the quality of water is changed. That is chemical pollution. Addition of ammonia from an industry, liquid ammonia into a river water, that is a type of chemical pollution. Addition of oil into water, addition of nitrates from agricultural areas into the water, all these are types of chemical pollution. And if you come to the biological pollution, you may be knowing that biological pollution is contamination of water by biological agents, most of the time by microbes like bacteria, E. coli may be knowing, and when E. coli is entering into water, you know that the water is, you say that the water is biologically contaminated or biologically polluted. So this is another third type of pollution based on the type of the pollutant. In addition to these two, there can be a third type known as the geogenic pollution. First criterion, second criterion, third criterion may be natural. Pollution that is caused by nature, geogenic. Geogenic means a particular type of water or a particular source of water may be contaminated by natural materials themselves. For example, contamination of water by fluoride, and where the fluoride, source of fluoride is some fluoride containing minerals. In that particular case, you consider it as geogenic pollution. There are several situations in which groundwater is contaminated by fluoride. That particular case, the fluoride is not originated from an industry or an artificially made material. It is from a natural mineral of like fluoride, for example, calcium fluoride. Then you consider it as geogenic pollution. It can be other cases of contamination of water by different chemicals by nature. So that is geogenic pollution. So these are the different types of pollution. And in order to add to this different types of pollution is that water is actually a very unique universal solvent which has the ability to dissolve large number of materials. So water has also a natural tendency to contain or accommodate or dissolve some pollutants which are being added to it without itself undergoing any change in their natural properties, the natural properties of water. And that property is known as assimilative capacity of water. In the management of water pollution, most of the time, this particular capacity is being considered, assimilative capacity of water. So that also will very briefly discuss assimilative capacity of water. Assimilative capacity is the maximum pollutant load that can be added to a given amount of water without having any major change in the quality of water. So we'll explain it with the help of an example. For example, from an industry, if there is discharge of ammonia, liquid ammonia, into a river stretch, the amount of ammonia that is being added to the river is considerably if it is very less, river water will be able to manage it. It will be able to accommodate it. It will be able to dissolve it. And there won't be any change, major change in the composition or quality of water. But when a particular cutoff level of amount of ammonia is exceeded, water becomes unable to contain it, to dissolve it. Then what the water is going to do is that it will kill the fishes present in that particular water. Then you consider it as a very severe environmental issue. So that is assimilative capacity. So assimilative capacity is actually the maximum amount of pollutant load that can be accommodated by a given amount of water, natural water, surface or groundwater, without itself undergoing any negative change in its quality. So that is assimilative capacity. Now we will discuss some of the very common sources of water also. There are also, if you consider the sources of water pollution, you see that there also agriculture will figure as one of the reasons or one of the sources, agriculture. The case of agriculture, you know that agrochemicals are the pollutants. Agrochemicals, that means the chemicals which you use as part of agriculture, pesticides and fertilizers mostly. And you know that for our country by 1947, if you consider the amount of pesticides which were used annually, it was about 1 million tons annually. But when it comes to the last years of the last century, it has grown into about 75 million tons. 75 million tons. That means very tremendous increase in the amount of pesticides which were used in our country. And if you consider the case of fertilizer also, annually there is going to be 3.5% increase in the last decade in the consumption or use of fertilizers. So from fertilizers and pesticides, chemical residues are entering from the soil to the water. It can be surface water, or it may even infiltrate into the groundwater reserve, and it is going to contaminate the groundwater. So agriculture, this is actually agricultural pollution of water. And this agricultural pollution of water is further going to generate eutrophication, which also you might have studied. Eutrophication is a process by which, when there is our concentration of plant nutrients in a given water body like a freshwater lake, there is going to be flourishing of large number of algae and other green plants in the water body, by which there can be a lowering of the oxygen content of the water. That water becomes less productive, and that process is known as, it's an after effect of water contamination by these agrochemicals or by the plant nutrients. So that is about agriculture, and if you consider the second one, there comes the industries. Industries have major role in contaminating the water. So in the case of industries, if there are some solid waste or liquid waste, most of the time the liquid waste may be directly released into a nearby water body, some cases. But nowadays it has become mandatory to treat the water, and then only you can discharge it into the natural environment. But there are situations in which industries may be releasing chemicals or chemicals containing effluents, industrial effluents, into a nearby water body, by which the chemical composition of the water body is negatively affected. There are a large number of chemicals which are being added to water by industries. And the third source is the domestic sector. Domestic sector is also responsible for the contamination of surface as well as groundwater bodies. There can be a release of the wastewater from our houses into the nearby drainage. From that, it may be directly reaching the nearby small stream. From there, it may be reaching the larger river, by which the water may be contaminated. And there are situations in which the sanitation facilities available in a given nation, if it is poor, there are lot of chances of contamination, of biological contamination of our water bodies by human excreta and other waste from other animals. So that is also a particular chance which is possible in the case of domestic sector. So these are the different sources of water pollution, and with this we close this discussion. Thank you very much.